Hi everyone, this is Rishika, and today I'm going to teach you yet another concept from share capital, one of the tough concepts of a syllabus, that is share forfeiture or forfeiture of shares. Now, what exactly does this term mean? Okay, do we know what's calls in arrears? Let me give you a brief understanding as what is calls in arrears in like maybe a minute, and that is how you'll understand share forfeiture. Now, all of us know that when the company asks for money from people, it will ask money in installments. These installments are known as application, allotment, and first call, and there can also be a second call. But let's assume in our case that it is application, allotment, and first call. When the company asked for allotment amount, there was a certain Mr. A who was unable to pay the company on time, because of which the company wrote calls in arrears in its books, and for the time being told A to make payment as soon as possible. So basically calls in arrears is like a defaulters list, right? Then the company again, when it made or it asked for the first call money, A was again unable to make the payment, and again the company was supposed to write it as the defaulters list for Mr. A, and this went on. Now, after some repeated warnings given to Mr. A, the company still could not get the amount of money from A. In such a case, the company is like, okay, now we're done with whatever amount of time we waited for, and we want these shares back. Because if we give these shares to someone else, then that someone else will be of more benefit to us than Mr. A is. So forfeiture is the company's action against a person who is doing regular defaults. Okay, once the shares are forfeited, that means the original person's shares, whoever he is and whoever has it, it is cancelled and the shares are back to the company. Okay, now comes the journal entry of share forfeiture. The first thing that you have to look in the sum, or you have to look for in the example, is whether the sum has securities premium. Okay, my first case is a case when securities premium is not there in the sum. Okay, an easier case, a very simple journal entry. So how does the journal entry go about? It's basically share capital account debit to share forfeiture to calls in arrears. Okay, now let me help and explain you with the help of an example. Let's assume that we have Mr. A who has done a default of 1000 shares, and in the question it was mentioned that you were supposed to pay rupees 5 on application, rupees 3 on allotment, and rupees 2 on first call. Okay, now what has happened here is, firstly, understand what comes in share capital, the entire value of the shares. What is the value of the shares? Check the question. Has the company asked for 5, 3 and 2? Yes, then in that case the value of the shares as of now is 10 rupees. So you're cancelling out 1000 into 10, which is 10,000. Okay, now what is the amount of calls in arrears that he made? According to my example, it is 3 and 2. So that means here you will have 1000 into 5, which is 5000. And what remains goes in share forfeiture. But if you want to understand what share forfeiture is, share forfeiture basically represents the amount the company has got, and calls in arrears represents the amount the company has not got. So to repeat, to make a hack for you, share capital is number of shares into the value of the share. Value of the share मतलब कितना company ने आज तक वो shares के लिए मांगा है. Okay. Next, share forfeiture means the amount that the person has paid. So 1000 into 5, 5000. And the last one is calls in arrears, which is the pending amount, the default amount, which is 1000 into 5. How did I get 5? Basically 3 plus 2. Now, in the exam, to save time, always just find out one amount and the second one make it the balancing figure, because we really don't have time to do both the amounts. So either find this and make this as the balancing figure, or do this and make this as the balancing figure. The next part of share forfeiture is where a sum would have securities premium. Now let's understand, if the sum has securities premium, what all do you have to look at, okay? I'm going to explain this with the help of an example. Let's say we have one example. 5 rupees payable on application, 3 rupees payable on allotment, 2 rupees payable on first call. Same example, and the only difference here is I'm adding 2 rupees here for securities premium, okay? And there's one more example I have, wherein it's 5, 3, 2, again application, allotment, first call, and I'm adding the premium here during allotment, okay? Now we have Mr. A. Mr. A has done a default in allotment and first call, but he is paid application properly, right? Of course, application to person has to pay properly, otherwise he'll not be a shareholder only, correct? If he has paid the application properly, that means the securities premium associated with it has also been paid properly, right? In this case, do the forfeiture entry as though securities premium does not exist in the sum. The same, absolutely the same. This ये जो ऊपर वाला entry है, the same entry comes below also. That is share capital to share forfeiture to calls in arrears. Forget about the premium because he's paid it. Okay. यहाँ पे आ जाएगा 1000 into 10 year, 1000 into 5 year, 1000 into 5 again. Same 10,000, 5,000, 5,000. To summarize this, I'm going to say this again. If a sum has premium, but premium has been paid properly, no problem there, then in that case, ignore premium completely in the share forfeiture entry. In example number 2, what has happened is the person has not paid the premium, right? Because uska allotment bhi pending hai, uska first call bhi pending hai. He has done a default in paying allotment, and he's also done a default in paying the first call. That means securities premium is also unpaid. In this case, what do you do to the entry? In the entry, you add securities premium on the debit side. So what you do is share capital, securities premium to share forfeiture to calls in arrears. Okay. Now, share capital as usual 1000 into 10. Yeah, because that's the value of the shares. Premium 1000 into 2. So that means this is 10k. This is 2000. What will come in calls in arrears? This part, allotment ka pura part, and first call. That means 5 and 2. Do you guys agree? Because allotment also has premium now. So 3 plus 5 plus 2, that is 7. So this is 1000 into 7, 7000, and share forfeiture will have 5000. How did I get 5000? One way of doing it is balancing figure. The other way of doing it is just find out how much the person has paid. 1000 into 5. So, to summarize this again, so that you guys are not confused, first thing, look for the sum and check whether you have securities premium. If you don't have securities premium, great. Share capital debit to share forfeiture to calls in arrears. Okay. Next part, if the sum has securities premium. Okay, if the securities premium has been paid, ignore it. The entry is the same. Share capital to calls in arrears to share forfeiture. And then comes the last case wherein the sum has securities premium and it has not been paid. In that case, you will add securities premium on the debit side. So this was a brief understanding of how share forfeiture works. We also have many categories of reissue, and then finally a lot of math involved on how to calculate the amount of capital reserve. If it is something you guys require and need help for, then you guys should definitely join the crash course, which is starting on 13th of December. It's going to be great. I'm going to cover all of this end to end and explain you with a lot of examples